The architecture of the human body has captivated the attention of sculptors, artists, and scientists for millennia, with the quest to know what lies beneath the surface, to see beyond the form, to see through. Now, through the miracle of plastination preservation, part of the human connective tissue system called fascia is becoming visible in a way never before seen. Welcome to Fascia in a New Light. In January 2018, the Fascia Research Society, the Plastinarium, and Body Worlds embarked on a collaborative journey to create the world's first 3D human fascia plastinates. Together, they are creating history as the FascialNet Plastination Project.
Go into the thoracolumbar.
Lá, nós temos principalmente
This part of the leg, that's the scene.
of how dissection.
It's a new buzzword, fascia. But what exactly is it? Found throughout the body, directly under the skin and deeper, it's a hidden whitish-colored fibrous band of connective tissue. It accounts for roughly 20% of our body weight. Like cling film, fasciae envelop our muscles, tendons and organs and provide a link to our bones. For centuries, the physiological importance of the fascia was overlooked or underestimated. But now it's considered to be key to our health. Is it the answer to relieving one of the most common of all medical problems, back pain? Our search for answers takes us across the globe. In Maine, in the northeast of the United States, Thomas Myers trains physiotherapists. He's written a pioneering book on fascia, Anatomy Trains.
Comes to me with plantar fasciitis. I very seldom get the best results from treating their plantar fascia. I get the best long-term, I'm talking about long-term versus short-term results from working on the lower leg, or up on the hamstrings, or even under the back of the head on the neck, because they're all part of a single system.
Myers is convinced that the body's fascial tissue is interconnected in countless lines, extending from the head to the foot, from one hand right across the shoulders to the other hand, even spiraling through the entire torso. He believes that when we have pain in one place, the cause can often be found in a totally different area. In Frankfurt, the German sports medicine specialist Jan Wilke is trying to find out. He's conducting research into whether such anatomical chains really exist. Here, moving the ankle should trigger movement of the fascia at the back of the upper thigh. And in fact, the ultrasound indicates a gliding of the fascia there. The second experiment is more revealing, proving the fascial connection between the cervical spine and the leg, separated by the entire length of the back.
So let's look at the results. Ability is improved following the stretching of the leg muscles. We've seen an improved ability to bend and stretch the head in the area of the cervical spine. And that again seems to indicate a mechanical force transmission across the muscle fascia connections.
Wilke suspects that force is transmitted not only vertically, but horizontally as well.
How is this relevant to practice? So, do patients really need to work on the cervical spine to relieve neck tension? Or can they, if they don't want to do that, maybe also work on the torso or the legs and achieve relief through a force transmission effect?
Jean-Claude Gamberteau was the first to render the fascinating full-body network of fascia visible to the naked eye. In his long professional life, the hand surgeon from Bordeaux in France has performed countless operations.
In surgery, you see every day how the layers of connective tissue slide to and fro. But how does this connective tissue function?
At the Institute of Hand and Foot Surgery in Bordeaux, Gamberteau makes the world of the fascia visible with a special camera. He films the tissue inside the living body. His pictures have changed the way medical specialists view the fascia.
You see, those are the organizing fibers. It seems totally chaotic, but it isn't. It's what makes life possible in the first place. A perfectly efficient system. The more we research it, the more we understand the fascia and its structure. And this will open the door to new therapies.
The Italian city of Padua boasts one of the oldest universities in Europe. It was here that Galileo Galilei proclaimed that the sun and planets do not revolve around the Earth. Anatomy professor Carla Stecco. She's following in the footsteps of her predecessors. She's also continued the work of her father, conducting pioneering research into the fascia's purpose and function. In the course of the dissection of a human corpse, Stecco shows her students how the fascia is found throughout the body.
This is the fascia, the loose connective tissue which allows me to slide from one level to the next. Can you see how extremely fluid its structure is? How it can be moved with ease? Look how I can get into it. It's all made up of water, proteoglycans and tissue, and it's so beautiful.
Carla Stecco's research on fascia has helped reveal what we know today. Fascia exists everywhere in the body, in many shapes and consistencies. Directly beneath the skin is the surface fascia. The deep fascia envelops our muscles, and also our muscle fibers, like the skin around a sausage. The fascia also envelops our organs in a whitish skin. Even the brain is protected by this tissue.
We can even view the meninges as a special fascia, because ultimately it shares the same characteristics as fascia that we know from other parts of the body.
Her findings are groundbreaking. It's the first time in the 400-year history of medical anatomy that the fascia of the entire human body has been systematically documented. But how can fascia cause pain? Why do these layers of tissue in particular cause so much trouble? Robert Schleip is one of Germany's best-known researchers on fascia. Schleip is a trained psychologist and physiotherapist. To discover what he was feeling with his hands, he took a sabbatical and devoted his energies to scientific study. He did his postdoctoral thesis on fascial tissue at Ulm University's Institute of Applied Physiology. His findings have won awards.
In the past, the fascia was seen as a disposable organ. But in recent years, this structureless organ has attracted so much attention. And that, to me, is a really exciting development.
The fascia is comprised of fibroblasts. Fibroblasts have a healing effect. If we cut ourselves, they close the wound.
Because what we're finding is that when you do acupuncture, for example, on the tissue, the fibroblasts actually respond and they expand, and that helps the tissue relax.
But what else, apart from too little exercise and incorrect posture, causes complaints? The experiment shows quite clearly that the fascia contracts in response to the added messenger substances.
What is really exciting is that we have also found messenger substances that affect fascia which are not only linked to inflammation, but also to emotional stress. It was a breakthrough for us to learn that the fascia also reacts to that very, very slowly and sustainably. If I'm tensed up for weeks, even in my sleep, it is not mainly the red muscle fibers that are tense. They relax fairly quickly. It is the white fascia tissue, such as the sheath around the muscle. As manual therapists, we can feel that it is not the contents of the sausage if we see the muscle as a sausage, but its skin, the surrounding membrane, that is hard. That's the mechanism we're now investigating.
Myers is fascinated by the organization of connective tissue as a whole body network. The fascia ensures that we have a feeling for our body, that everything in it is in the right place and keeps us in shape.
Your bones are floating inside your connective tissue. If I could go boom and disappear all the soft tissue on your body, your bones would clatter to the floor.
Carlos Decco's brother Antonio Decco conducts research into hyaluronic acid at the New York University School of Medicine. Amid insufficient moisture, the tissue becomes rough and brittle like terry cloth. Hyaluronic acid provides a lubricant for the fascia to glide over neighboring muscle. In Germany, Robert Schleip and Werner Klingler are also carrying out research into hyaluronic acid. They're experimenting with therapies to improve the moisture content of the fascia and its sliding capacity.
We're hoping that manual stretching therapy will cause the water content to rise again. The great thing is, we believe that through this exchange of tissue water, inflammatory substances will be removed and the tissue will be cleansed.
Fascia appears to have an important and unsuspected impact on human health and well-being. International research on fascia has shown that relaxing and stretching connective tissue fibers helps alleviate back pain. But to what extent can traditional medicine help? Helen Langevin has studied the role fascia plays in acupuncture.
My interest in connective tissue, and therefore eventually fascia, began when I was studying acupuncture. When you manipulate an acupuncture needle, you have to insert the needle and then rotate it back and forth slightly. And what happens then is that you feel something. The acupuncturist actually feels that the tissues are tightening around the needle. That's what got me interested in, well, is this important in the mechanism of acupuncture? Because that had not been researched before.
Is it just the acupuncturist's subjective feeling that something is tugging at the needle when it's inserted and extracted? Or is there really a reaction in the connective tissue? Langevin wanted to find out.
You first wondered, well, is that measurable? Can you measure it? You can feel it, but can you measure it? So we did experiments where we used like a robot that inserted the needle and then rotated the needle back and forth and then pulled the needle out to measure the force that it would take to pull the needle out. We figured, well, if the tissues are really grabbing the needle, the force should increase after you manipulate it. And we were able to demonstrate that.
Every time the needle is inserted and removed, collagen coils around it like spaghetti around a fork. The sensation of a tug on the needle that therapists have long observed now has a scientific explanation. What's more, fibroblasts respond to the needle, even if they're several centimeters away. This effect is also visible in an ultrasound. But what exactly does the acupuncture needle trigger in the fascia? And could this mechanism of fibroblast activation within the fascia also explain the pain-reducing effect of acupuncture treatment?
The fibroblasts that are inside the tissues, up to several centimeters away, not just only at the needle, they expand. They respond, it relaxes the tissue.
And so, modern research is providing evidence that validates ancient healing techniques. Now there is an increasing focus on fascia as the trigger for chronic complaints. Analgesic researchers are also interested in the potential that fascial tissue offers for new therapeutic applications. German researcher Siegfried Menzer from the medical faculty Mannheim was one of the first to recognize the medical importance of fascia. But how can we know if the pain originates in the fascia rather than in the muscle? After all, fascia and muscles are virtually inseparable. Menzer uses a pair of delicate watchmaker's tweezers to irritate the fascia and measures the subject's pain sensitivity. Then the muscle is irritated, and sensitivity is measured again. The results are compared.
What one can definitely say here is that the effect of an irritation of the fascia on this nerve cell is much more pronounced than the effect on the receptors in the muscle.
Fasciae are permeated with countless pain receptors, making connective tissue our key organ of sensory perception. This has been proven without a doubt. Like Robert Schleip, Siegfried Menzer and his team also believe that stress has a direct impact on fascial tissue. And that brings the sympathetic nervous system into play. The sympathetic nervous system is part of the autonomic nervous system. From the brain through the spinal cord, it leads to almost every organ. We cannot control it. In stressful situations, it triggers what's known as the fight or flight response because it evolved as a survival mechanism. International research on fascia has made huge strides in recent years. It's offered hope for progress in many scientific fields, including cancer research.
If we find that stretching can improve fibrosis and inflammation, it's natural to wonder whether it might reduce the growth of cancer and secondarily to that. And that's an area that we're looking at.
The findings of fascia research have shown that this body-spanning network of connective tissue, disregarded for so long, may be the place where inexplicable disorders and pain originate. And because of that, the place where healing can begin.
赞美主生命，我要歌颂主生命，一把学习沉默，内心的无畏。我要荣耀主生命，我要高举主生命，你的爱拥抱我，不再被罪恶捆绑。主你安生触摸我。去走内心的伤痛，在你里面我重新得力，有满足的喜乐，主你荣光照亮我，生命不再有愁烦，在你里面我的神有余，因你的爱，我不再一样。
去，要再開始，可改掉舊名字，如求脫去混亂細節，可剪斷壞髮絲，悠悠身體已受的傷，是心會變成紙，找到方向，新生命是挑戰。記住昨天，以往的以後誰在意？如曾有錯未成大錯，要改到總算是容易。我最親愛的，這一生寶貴是時間，你要歸來總不太晚，而明天不記住昨天，以往的以後誰在意？如曾有錯未成大錯，要改到總算是容易。我最親愛的，這一生寶貴是時間，你要歸來總不太晚。我最親愛的，這一生寶貴是時間，你要歸來總不太晚。
It's not just that disease starts in the mind, it's that everything starts in the mind.
In today's world, these stresses are 24/7, 365. The net result is illness and disease.
90% of what takes people to the doctor is stress-related illnesses.
When you perceive a threat, in the old days we referred to that as fight or flight.
But now it's your spouse, or it's your boss, or it's rent that's due in a week. And yet the system reacts as though it's a life-threatening situation.
And if you're running a fight or flight response all the time, your immune system is compromised chronically.
We have the most money going into healthcare than any country in the world, and we have some of the worst statistics of healthcare.
My body wants to be healthy, but it's the head it's the fear. I don't know who I am without being sick.
In a way, we have more faith in the power of cancer to kill us than we have faith in the power of infinite possibility.
Every organ in the human body has the ability to heal itself under the right conditions. What are those conditions? That's the question.
We are in a mindset that our body is a machine full of organs with buttons and levers that need adjusting.
Psoriasis and eczema, cause unknown. Multiple sclerosis, cause unknown. Fibromyalgia, cause unknown.
There are examples of people out there who have healed from it. When I looked at the data, they were all using these 9. Only 2 of them are physical. The rest are mental, emotional, and spiritual.
Does this mean medicine is all negative? And I go, absolutely not. Medicine does miracles with trauma.
What we see here is belief itself shifts biology. That intelligence giving us life. It is the greatest healer in the world.
These symptoms are brilliantly intelligent in waking us up. Doesn't matter how long you've been sick, you can heal, and always remember that and never forget it.
缘分让我们相遇了10亿外，命运却要我们为就相爱。感受停在发端的指尖，入微瞬间，冻结时间，记着望着我坚定的双眼，也许已经没有明天。面对浩瀚的星海，我们微笑得像尘埃，漂浮在一片。